Have you ever noticed how some businesses just sound more convincing than others? It's not that their product is necessarily better, it's that they've figured out how to say one thing, one sentence that makes you believe it's going to work for you. And today, I want to help you find that sentence for your farm. Let's get started.
Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show.
Well, welcome to episode 363 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I'm your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of MyDigitalFarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers like you get more confident in your marketing and sales strategy so that you can grow a profitable business. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show. A big shout out to all of my digital farmers. If you are new to the podcast, I'm glad you're here today. Welcome. Make sure you subscribe to the show. There is so much good stuff in the archives. But I always tell people who are new to consider checking out my first 10 episodes because when I built them long ago, I actually did it intentionally with my future audience in mind. They were designed to be an on ramp into what I knew I was going to talk about here, all the marketing lingo, the framework. It's going to really just give you a good foundation. Another place that you can go is just get onto my email list. That's free. And when you do, I'm going to start sending you an email every week for several months. It's basically going to walk you through the jungle of marketing and show you the key things you need to know first. Each email builds on the next. And it's so helpful. It's going to point to prior podcast episodes, to resources, to people you should be following. I give you some freebies. And you're just going to get the weekly email too about like what podcast dropped this week to decide if you think it'll be valuable. So it's really good. Get on that list. You can subscribe by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. Easy to remember. And that's free. I highly encourage you to do that.
Today's podcast is sponsored by my friends at Local-Line. If you run a CSA or you sell direct or wholesale, or you manage both, Local-Line helps you simplify your operations and scale with confidence. I love this platform. In 2025, farms and food hubs using Local-Line grew their sales by 33%. Average order values increased by 31%, and total order count grew by 9%. That is real results across operations of all sizes. Local-Line brings everything together into one platform. So CSA management, wholesale ordering, access to new wholesale opportunities. They have automated inventory, barcode scanning, a box builder. They even have a POS. And that means you spend less time managing admin and more time growing your business. Switching couldn't be easier. There are no setup fees, no sales commissions, and their onboarding team will even migrate your storefront for free, taking the workload off your plate. As a podcast listener, you'll get one premium feature free for a full year when you use the code MDF2026 at checkout. So head to mydigitalfarmer.com/local-line, all one word, then use that code MDF2026 and you'll get that discount. Start the season strong with Local-Line. It's streamlined, efficient, and built for growth. And now back to the show.
All right. Well, welcome back. I am recording this at the end of April. So I'm looking at my schedule right now. I am way ahead. This is so great. By the time this episode drops, it will be the end of May. And I will just have finished watching my son graduate from high school. and have thrown him a big graduation party. It's like a small wedding, everyone. I think that's what happens when you're a farmer and you know a lot of people and a lot of customers, and a lot of people have influenced our son's life. And so you just want them all there. Um, and I can't believe it. I can't believe he's launching into the world and he is ready. Like, I feel like he's ready to go. I'm not really ready because I love him a ton, but I'll be okay. And I'm just so proud of him. He's heading into the National Air Guard as a reservist. So he's going to boot camp, leaves July 7th. We will fly out to see him graduate in San Antonio. Some of my family actually lives in Houston, so that'll be fun. We'll get to visit with them as well. And then he goes to tech school where he learns his very specific trade. He's doing hydraulics on the jet engines here at the 180th in Toledo, and then he'll come back on Thanksgiving. So there's going to be a stretch of time here where we don't see our oldest anymore. But like I said, we're super excited to see him take this next chapter in his life. And he is well equipped, skilled, confident. He has made the most of senior year. He even went to prom. I'm just so excited for him. So, anyway, big transition moment for me as a mom. His younger brother, who is a freshman this year, that's the one I'm worried about. Like, they are thick as thieves, best friends. Josiah is the engineer, Jed is the builder. They build these amazing creations and they're buying stuff on Facebook Marketplace, tearing it up, flipping it. They're just great as a pair. We call them Orville and Wilbur because they really do function in that capacity, like the Wright brothers. And I think it's going to be hard on Josiah to lose his best friend. I know it is. He's talked about it. So we're trying to prepare Josiah and really encourage him to start hanging out more with his own high school friends, which has been happening. But anyway, we're in that beautiful phase of transition. I know some of you listening have been there and you're nodding your head and you're hopefully encouraging me and telling me it's going to be okay. And then there's some of you who are coming behind, and just know that it is an opportunity to lead well and to show your kids, I trust you. Go live life to the fullest. Go make mistakes because I know that that's a really valuable thing that's going to shape them. So I'm ready. All right. Well, today's episode was inspired by an ad that came on a podcast. I think I was listening to a podcast and I heard an ad from ZipRecruiter. And I've heard this ad before. Raise your hand if you've heard of ZipRecruiter. Okay, these are people that help you find qualified candidates for a job. I've heard this ad before, but this time the sentence jumped out at me. And I'm not sure why. I'm not hiring. I'm not looking for people. Actually, I do need to hire one person, but I'm not going to use ZipRecruiter. But here's the sentence that popped out at me. And this is the sentence we're going to study for the entire episode. 4 out of 5 employers who use ZipRecruiter find a qualified candidate within the first day. I'm going to say that one more time. 4 out of 5 employers who use ZipRecruiter find a qualified candidate within the first day. Well, when I heard this, for whatever reason, maybe it's because I'm just always thinking about marketing, I thought to myself, wow, that's a powerful line. That actually made me stop and notice the ad. And I was trying to figure out why. And I think it's because if I were a business owner who was experiencing this problem of I have a position open and I need to fill it quickly, and I'm trying to hire someone and I'm having a hard time finding someone to fill the position. And I know how many farmers out there are raising their hand right now, right? Like I hear this a lot from people that I'm coaching, like, oh, I just need to find crew people and I cannot find people who want to do this job. But if I'm a business owner trying to hire someone, that sentence does a few things instantly, doesn't it? Number one, it tells me that I'm not alone. This is a problem other people have. It tells me that other people are succeeding at solving the problem. It tells me the result that I want is actually happening for other people. And probably most importantly, it tells me that it's going to happen fast. In one day, I'm going to get at least one candidate. That one sentence, I think, has the power to remove hesitation and make someone at least go check it out and take a first step and look into working with ZipRecruiter if the pain point is powerful enough. And so I found myself thinking, how can I use that example to help me craft a similar kind of promise statement for my farm business? Is there a promise statement hiding in my story that I could capitalize, that I could focus on, talk more about, point to, say again and again, beat the drum, that would maybe motivate my customers to, well, not my customers, my prospects, to finally take action and step into my space and become a customer, right? Actually convert them into a buyer. And then, of course, I thought of all of you. Could I share this little quick story with all of you as an episode and just get you thinking about the power of a promise statement? That's kind of what I'm calling this. So we're going to look at promise statements, or proof sentences is another word for it. And how can we find our proof sentence? What could this proof sentence do for us? What is the formula for a proof sentence? What are some examples of proof sentences for farm businesses? And then an activity, an invitation to work on this to find your proof sentence for your farm. So let's just break down, first of all, why that particular sentence for ZipRecruiter worked so well. Because once you see it, you can tell it kind of has a framework. A great promise sentence or proof sentence has 4 parts. Number 1, it has a number or a group of people that it's pointing to. Number 2, it has a very specific result. We'll look at this in more detail in a second. Number 3, it has a time frame listed or some kind of a condition. And then number 4, there is an implied promise hiding in the sentence that says, this will probably work for you too. At least it overcomes enough of the risk that someone's willing to give it a shot. So it's not just some like fluffy sentence, it's actually evidence-based. And every business, every farm, I think, should have a sentence or two like this. One of the reasons they work and are so powerful is because they're leveraging social proof. They're pointing to the fact that this is working for other people. There is a historical record, there is evidence that the system, the process, the product solves the problem, delivers on the desire, creates transformation, because you can point to a very specific example of it. So a proof sentence is a short, specific line. That specificity piece matters. We'll talk about that later. And it shows a potential customer, hey, people like you get results like this. Again, more specificity when they buy from our farm. And it answers this silent question that's brewing inside every potential buyer's mind before they buy. Is this actually going to work for me? And a lot of us are not answering that question clearly. Instead, our messaging is talking more about fun taglines like bringing your local farmer back to your kitchen table and fresh local food and high quality meat, grass-fed meat. But that's not proof. I mean, those are good. I'm not saying throw away those taglines. That's not a proof sentence, though. That's a description. And what I'm challenging us to work on today is evidence, like a sentence that points to evidence. A sentence that essentially points to a promise that you are making to a client. Promises are incredibly powerful. I see this all the time in my own life as a parent. There are moments when my kids are discouraged or something feels hard or they don't want to keep going because it's just hard and they can't imagine it not ever being hard. And what do? I don't usually give them, more instructions. I usually try to motivate them with a promise. I don't know if you do this. I'll say something like, "Hey, just get through this part and then it's going to get easier." Or, "Hey, if you just do XYZ based on what I've experienced, this next thing is going to happen and then that's going to unlock," right? You're closer than you think. If you stick with this, you're going to feel really proud of yourself. My son Josiah right now is in track. He's a discus thrower and he's kind of hit a wall. He can't break um, this certain distance that he wants to throw. And he just comes home discouraged and like, "Oh, I'm never going to get there." And I just tell him, "Buddy, you're a freshman. Like, all it takes is more reps. You just need more reps. And there isn't a way that you can speed this up. If you would be willing to go out and on the weekends and just throw some more throws on your own, like we're a mile away from the discus place at the school, that is the way to get better, to increase your range. And by the time you're a senior, we're going to look back at this story and we're going to say, can you believe that you were all worried that you couldn't imagine breaking this ceiling? You're going to break this ceiling and then some, right?" And I just kind of try to give him perspective and show him that this is the way you will break the ceiling. You will get to this number. It's probably going to be in a few months after this many reps, and then there will be a new ceiling and you're going to feel the same way and we're going to have the same conversation, right? And we just keep laying the promise out in front of him. We keep giving hope, right? What am I doing in that moment? I am trying to give him something to look forward to. I'm trying to help him believe that the effort is worth it or that it's just a matter of time. I'm trying to give him a reason to keep going. I'm trying to pace his race. And that's exactly what your customer needs too, because every time someone considers buying from you, there's always a little bit of doubt. They're wondering, am I going to like this? Is this going to be as good as I imagine it? Is this going to be worth it? Am I going to regret it? What if it doesn't work for me? And a strong promise interrupts that spiral and it gives them a picture of what life could look like on the other side when they use your product. It gives them a future story that is different than the one they have right now, right? It gives them hope. And psychologically, that matters more than we realized in sales because people don't take action when they're uncertain. And they're not just buying a product, remember? They're buying the promised transformation of your product. That's what they're buying. And so when we're selling, when we're pitching our product, we've got to remember to pitch the transformation, not the thing itself. They'll take action when they believe that that outcome is more likely, when they can see it in their head, when they can feel it, when they can think, yeah, this might actually work out for me. And all of that is what happens inside of a great proof sentence. A proof sentence is not lying. It is not false hope. It is not exaggeration. It is a believable promise that's based on evidence in your data, in your brand. Anecdotally, as you survey your results, it's one that says, people like you have already experienced this result. I'm so confident that it will most likely happen to you too. And that's often all someone needs in order to unlock and take the next step. So there are two formulas that I like to use when I'm looking for a promise sentence. I don't think every, and I keep using promise sentence, proof sentence. I use them interchangeably. I want to give you some formulas to help you see these in action. And then I'm going to give you a whole bunch of examples of potential proof statements. these formulas are not set in stone. You don't absolutely have to have every element, but I think they can help you at least get the guts of it together, and then you just kind of have to wordsmith it a little bit. But here's an example of one of the formulas. Who plus result plus time frame or condition. So let me give you an example of what that sounds like. Most of our new CSA members tell us by week 3 they are cooking at home more often and wasting less food. Okay, so you hear that? Who? It's the CSA members who just start for the brand first time. What's the result? Well, they are cooking at home more often and feeling like they're wasting less food. And what's the time frame? The time frame is within 3 weeks. So there's a specificity in the time. It's almost like I'm promising people, if you join our CSA, you're most likely going to be cooking from home more often by week 3. You'll notice a difference. Okay, so that's one formula. Who, target audience, plus result that you can promise, plus the typical time frame or condition. So as you hear that first formula, I wonder if you're already thinking about your business. Is there something that you could plug into that formula that feels like a promise you could confidently make that most of your customers would experience XYZ result in this amount of time? And I know there's going to be outliers, but like in general, can you kind of see some patterns? That's kind of a fun one to play around with. The second formula that I have seen is this one: number of people plus what happened for them. So here's an example that I have used before in my marketing. I have said 80% of our CSA members return the following year to join again. Do you see how that's following the formula? Number of people, in this case a percentage, 80%, which is high, plus what happened. They came back. They liked it so much that they returned. Both of these examples of formulas help the customer feel like it's probably going to work for them too, right? That is the goal of a proof sentence. So you're probably thinking, okay, this sounds great, but how do I actually figure out what my proof sentence is? I've given you some formulas, but how do I actually, figure out what to stick into those formulas? And this is where it's common to kind of get stuck. And I want to suggest that the proof sentence isn't something that you're just going to sit there and make up out of your head. It's something that you discover, that you notice. It's already happening right now. You just haven't put language to it yet, or you haven't noticed the data or seen it from a certain angle. And so one of the best ways I've found to start seeing it is to imagine this. What if you could follow your customer around with a video camera for a few weeks after they buy from you? What would you actually see, especially as it relates to your product? How would their life change? If there's a before and an after grid, and we're writing life before your product was like this, and life after your product, after a set amount of time, begins to look like this. Your customer begins to exhibit certain behaviors, or they begin to feel a certain way, or they begin to no longer experience XYZ obstacle. Like, what does that look like? If you could follow them around in the 3D world with a camera and like write specific things down, how it's affecting their everyday life. Would you see them standing in their kitchen cooking more often? Would you see them opening their fridge and feeling less stressed about dinner, making quicker decisions about dinner? Would you see them setting flowers on the table and smiling when they walk by? Would you see them pulling meat out of the freezer instead of going and grabbing takeout? And how more often is that happening in a typical week, right? That's the real question. How is your product showing up in their life? Not just what did they buy, but what changed after they bought it? Did their behavior change? Did their routine change? Are they hanging out with different people? Did their health change? Did how they feel about food change? Did how they feel about anything and their relationships change? Right? That's where your product's promise lives. And I'll be honest, this is not always obvious right away. You usually start to see it after you've been in business for a while. So if you're still really new as a brand new business and you don't have this data yet, um, and after you've had conversations with some of your customers at pickup, after you've read through enough emails or Google reviews or heard feedback, or maybe you do the work of actually interviewing customers. We have an entire project inside Farm Marketing School called Customer Research Bootcamp. And that's the goal, is for you to go and do this work, call up 10 different people and find the patterns that you see of how they're using your product, what value they're getting from it, what their obstacles are, right? You start to notice patterns. People keep saying the same kind of things. They describe the same kinds of wins with your product. They tell you the same before and after stories. Trust me. Trust me, I'm making a product promise right now. And that's when you realize, oh, this is what my product actually does for people. I wanted to make sure I spent a portion of this episode giving you actual proof sentence examples. And I have lots of different farm types here. I'm going to start out with the CSA farm just because that's my mojo, and that was the obvious first place for me to brainstorm. And as I go through these, they're not all winners because I'm not a meat producer. I'm not a flower farmer. And so I was trying to guess, but I want you to see how the formulas are being worked here. And maybe you're going to hear like part of a sentence that you're going to latch onto and be like, "Ooh, I like that." And then you can kind of fill in the blank or end the sentence in a different way. I think this is going to be probably the best part of the entire episode. So let me jump into that now. Let me turn the page here. The first category is CSA, vegetable farm. Here are a few examples of proof sentences. Most of our new CSA members tell us by week 3, they're cooking at home more often. Or you could say they're wasting less food, or you could combine them. Over 80% of our CSA members return year after year after experiencing their first season. Number 3, within the first month, many of our members say they're eating less processed food and more fresh food every week. If you can get even more specific and like do a survey or find out how many fewer meals are they eating out, for example, that would be another really cool piece of data. And of course, you can't just lie and make up a number. You have to have some evidence. You have to either have really strong anecdotal like sense, or do some research, get on the phone, talk to people, or send out a survey to see what the answers are. Here's another one. Most CSA Sampler members say within the first 4 weeks, they know whether CSA is a great fit for their family. Okay, do you see how that sentence would motivate someone who's on the fence about trying it? Like, what's at the heart of their hesitation? Well, one of the things is, I'm just not sure that I'm going to like it. And if I can say, listen, instead of committing to the whole 18 weeks, which feels like a big chunk of time and money, you're going to know within 4 weeks. So that's why I created the sampler to be 4 weeks and not 2 weeks, because I know 4 weeks is the number. So try the sampler, $150. That's a much lower price point level. And you'll know either way by the end. And it's almost like gives them permission to put the decision off for 4 more weeks. But I'm almost kind of promising them, like, you're gonna know in your gut either way by then. And that's sort of what they have to manage around right now, is their indecision, right? Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School, my monthly membership for farmers. Before we dive back into the episode, I want to speak to a very specific kind of farmer for a second. If you're a year or 2 into your business and things are working, but your marketing still feels kind of scattered, Like you're posting, you're sending some emails, you're running promotions, but it all feels disconnected and you're not sure what's actually driving sales. I just want to say that's not a lack of effort. That's just a lack of structure. Because most farmers don't need more ideas. What they need is a system that connects everything together. And that's exactly why I built Farm Marketing School. Inside, I teach you how to actually design your marketing so that it works like a machine, a system, not a bunch of random tactics. We map out your full customer journey. We build your email engine. We create intentional promotions and product pathways. So your marketing starts handing off from one piece to the next like a relay race instead of you running every leg yourself. And we do it through 30-day project builds. So you're not just learning about marketing, you're actually finishing things. You're actually building the marketing assets in your marketing machine, your sales funnel, your promotions, your lead magnet, your weekly email rhythm, all your marketing assets. And that's when the shift happens. Marketing starts to feel lighter. The flywheel starts to spin. Sales start to feel more predictable. And you finally feel like, okay, I'm on the right track. I know what I'm doing. If that's what you've been longing for and what you've been missing, then I want to invite you to join Farm Marketing School just for a month. Come inside and see what it's all about. You can learn more at mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. And now back to the show. Okay, let's move on to Flower Farm. Many of our customers tell us that bringing home a bouquet instantly changes the mood of their whole house. Here's another one. Customers say having fresh flowers on their table makes ordinary days feel a little more special. If you can get more specific with that, but I'm trying to just give you some angles here. That's sort of the tapping into the ritual language and like feeling elevated. Women who buy from us often say it becomes their favorite way to treat themselves each week. I like that one. That's my favorite because that leans more into the identity piece. Like I'm someone who does this for myself, who treats myself, who says I'm worth it. If you have a flower subscription, I had some other ideas here. Subscribers say their flower pickup becomes their favorite weekly ritual. I've actually heard some of you say that to me when I interview you, that you have customers that come and talk about how they love to come to the farm to pick up the flowers. It's a favorite weekly ritual. Many of our members tell us they look forward to their flowers all week long. Do you see how that's also a proof sentence? That doesn't have a specific number, but it does really speak to, hey, I know enough about my customers to see this pattern that they are really looking forward to their flowers all week long. Maybe that's a generalist statement you can make. You can get even more specific about what they're looking forward to, even better. Customers say having flowers waiting for them each week feels like a small gift to themselves. And so that's where a person has taken the time to figure out what is the customer feeling when they get their flowers. They've talked to enough people and they've heard a pattern, and that's what they say at the end of that sentence. Okay. What about if you are a flower farm that does weddings? Here's a few promise sentences. Brides tell us they feel completely at ease on their wedding day, knowing their flowers are handled start to finish. Our couples consistently say that the flowers were the most talked about detail of the wedding. Ooh, that's a powerful sentence. We all secretly want people to talk about how amazing our flowers were, right? We typically book out our peak weekend weddings months in advance with repeat referrals from past brides. Do you see that? So that's saying that we're so good that past brides are talking us up. Like if our former clients loved us, if other brides are saying you're amazing, and we're booking out way in advance, like that's a proof sentence. Someone's saying, snatch them up right now. get on their calendar. This is the flower farm you want to work with. Okay, meat producers, whether you are a la carte or bulk, I kind of lumped you into one category here. I know I have a lot of people in farm marketing school who fall into this category. Most of our bulk beef customers come back to reserve their next animal before they finish the first. Or families who switch to buying meat from our farm often tell us they cook at home more and eat out less. If you can get specific numbers in there, that would be even better. Customers say once they taste grass-fed beef this fresh, it's hard to go back to grocery store meat. And I like that one because that's actually getting very specific about what the customer typically says again and again. Like if you get on a phone call with past clients and you're just asking them to talk about what they're thinking about your meat, and you keep hearing them say, "Man, it's so hard to go back to the grocery store meat once you've had grass fed." Like find a way to get that into a promise sentence. If you're pretty confident that 80-90% of your clients are going to feel that way after they've bought your grass fed meat for the first time, like put it out there in a promise sentence. Okay, and if you are a vegetable grower at the farmer's market, here's a few examples. Most of our market customers return week after week for our lettuces once they find us. You see how it got very specific about what specifically they come back for. Our bacon is so popular, it sells out in the first 20 minutes every week. Once our farm customers purchase our carrots, they say they'll never go back to grocery store carrots again. Once our customers try our lettuce, they want it every week in their store order. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm just trying to think about if I were a farmer with that kind of marketing model, and I'm scanning the horizon and I'm trying to just look for patterns. What do I see consistently happening with my clients? What do I hear them saying? What are they buying again and again? What kinds of things are happening in their life? And I'm trying to speak to those changes. I have one more example. I was trying to think of all of you out there who maybe do online sales, like a shipping model where you're shipping your product to people. So I have a couple here. Families say having meat delivered to their door makes it easier to stick to their meal plan. Or customers tell us our packaging keeps meat frozen and fresh even after shipping across the country. I was trying to think about, I don't love how I've worded that one exactly, but that one could use some work, but I liked the concept of focusing on the problem of will it stay frozen, will it stay fresh? So that's a bunch of examples of me trying to create proof sentences. Now I want to ask you, what would be your version of that sentence? You've heard the formula, you've heard me give a few examples. As I was going through them, could you hear some beginning to form in your mind based on what you know about your customers? What could you say that would make someone instantly think, okay, this is probably going to work for me? Or, oh, I'm going to love that. Because when you find that sentence, you will sell faster and you will build trust quicker. You will remove hesitation. You will remove friction. And that's just what great marketing does. You will make the sale. All right, my friends, that's all I have today. Remember, don't just tell people your product is great. Don't just be descriptive. We need to show them that it works. We need to know what our product's transformation is. Do you know what it is? Maybe you don't know. And in that case, that's your homework for the week is to go do some research and try to figure out how your product is changing people's lives. Because remember, we're not just selling the thing itself, we're selling the promise, we're selling the transformation. And when that unlocks, when you begin to point to that more, that's when sales will begin to rise. And that's the challenge of this week's episode is to really think about, well, what is my product's transformation? What is my product's promise? What can I confidently stand here and say, yeah, I've seen this pattern enough. I've been doing this long enough to almost certainly be able to promise that this will happen when you buy my product. We want to center ourselves around those sentences and talk about them a lot. Now, we didn't really talk in this episode about where do you take these promise sentences and market them. We'll do a little bit more of that inside of Farm Marketing School next month. But that is definitely something else you have to think about once you've created the product's promise sentence. Then where are you putting it? How are you leveraging it in your marketing? There's a whole bunch of different places that you can be doing that. Well, I hope that this was fun or at least got your mind thinking. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend. Go or leave me a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. Would love to have as many people as possible know about this resource. The show notes for today can be found at mydigitalfarmer.com/363. And remember, if you want to get on my email list, I would love to send some free resources to help you get better at your marketing. You can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. And if you need a little bit more one-on-one coaching or group coaching, that's what my online membership Farm Marketing School is all about. I'd love to have you join my community. It's so fun. I love the people that are in there. Come in this summer as we're working through our problems live, as we're trying to sell and pitch products and grow our revenue in the moment. When you need troubleshooting and help to get things done, this is the time to be in there and I can be supporting you. So love to see you in my community. mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS is where to go if you want to join that. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. Have an amazing week. And remember, I believe in you.